Hi, I'm Jim Jachetta, CEO and co-founder of VidOvation. We're here with Michael from Iodyne.
Hello.
He's going to tell us a little bit about storage and what the latest technology and some of the problems you're solving in the storage space.
So, I mean, I'll start with the 50,000 foot view, which is storage is largely an afterthought when it comes to production, right? I think we're starting to think about it a little bit more frequently because we realize that even though it's not that sexy necessarily, it's fundamental. All of the IP that you're creating is happening out in the field, and then it comes back somewhere. And sometimes if you don't think about it ahead of time, it can cause a lot of problems. So you can have slowdowns on set, you can get lost data, you can have exposure because maybe somebody who's carrying the drive loses their backpack, something like that. There's a lot of discipline when it comes to treating a data center and a central infrastructure when it comes to data. Our idea at Iodyne is that we treat the edge like infrastructure. So if you think about kind of the two separate distinct camps that when you're thinking about IP creation, you have one that's on the set or in the field doing the work. You have to have tools and equipment that allow you to do your work efficiently. So it can't be overly complex. It can't require an entire IT department. It can't be, a 200-pound server. I mean, it can be, and that works really well, but in a lot of cases, physically,
You need more grips.
you don't have the ability to power it or to move it. So we think about the end user experience being one of the primary that we have to consider. And then the other is, what is the company or what is the back end, the IT team or the security team, what are they thinking about? So are there encryption requirements? Is there formatting requirements? And so our world is trying to hit that intersection so that we can bring that infrastructure to the edge, and we can bring that sort of IT-centric and end-user-centric approach to the products that we build. Now, more practically, what does that mean? That means like you have devices that are incredibly fast, that are always on encrypted, that are easy to use, and that satisfy requirements for whatever thing they're trying to do, and that they can be used throughout the process. So it's not like I get a drive, I got to transfer it to this drive to do this job, and then this drive to do another. Our products are designed for head to tail. So you can ingest your footage onto it, you can edit, you can do your color, you can do your playback, all from one device. So that's pretty helpful. Obviously, redundancy having been, there's redundancy built into all these things. You still need backup copies, but having redundancy means that if you're out in the field and something goes wrong, your data doesn't get completely lost. So we have two core products, one which we are launching at the show here, and one that we launched about 3 years ago called the Pro Data. So the Pro Data is direct attached multi-user storage. So it's an NVMe RAID. You can plug up to 4 computers into it, or you can plug multiple computers with dual connection. We call that multipathing. You get about 5,400 megs per second of read, 2,200 megs per second of write. Those numbers are usually meaningless, but I'll give you a couple caveats there. One is that we do this thing called throughput, which means that when we give you a number of what the performance is, we're thinking about what is that application. So you're doing video, you need sustained performance. You don't need burst performance or momentary performance, which is unfortunately kind of common in our industry where you say, oh, it goes 4,000.
Well, that's IT. IT is burst.
Yeah,
Networking is
4,000 megs per
Video
second.
messes that all up.
60 seconds in, you've just dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
When we give speeds, it's about with encryption on, without any kind of crazy optimization. Those are the speeds that you're going to get. The other thing we do is we introduce some levels of metrics that are useful for what you're actually trying to do. So what does that mean when you're moving a terabyte? Like what does 5,400 megs per second mean on a read? It means that you can read a terabyte in about 8 to 10 minutes, right? So we're really focused on thinking about how does that bring predictability to the workflow. So this device, multiple users. So if you're on set, if you're at a live event and you have multiple shooters running around, you can bring your camera cards to a central place. Everyone can ingest onto a single device. You can carve it up into different containers. So everybody can have, you have up to 15. So it's almost like having 15 different hard drives. The benefit is, end of the day, you unplug this, you put it in your backpack or a Pelican case, and everything is in one place. And whatever the next step is, whether it's offloading to a post house or you're going to start editing, you're going to do that much more efficiently off of something like this. And that means something. If you're a smaller team and you've got to get a turnaround in 24 hours, now you're going, okay, cool, I've ingested the camera card. I literally can do this natively. I don't have to do any transcoding. I can play it back at whatever resolution it's at. I can do the edit, the color, all one machine done. And it's plug and play. So it's not, again, great sans work, great on set, but when you don't have that option, you want something that's going to work well and you don't want to have to think about it. So plug it in, Thunderbolt connection goes in, you're up and running. We do a lot on the back end for device telemetry so that we can let you know how the health is. Something goes wrong, we do automatic rebuilds. The idea is to keep you working no matter what part of the process.
Because it's a RAID array, it can repair
exactly.
itself.
There's 12 drives inside of
If
this.
one of the drives is getting funky, it can repair.
Yep.
So nothing's lost.
The other device that we're showing, the product that we're showing here is the Mini. So where this is a 12 to 192 terabyte device, this is a 4 to 8 to 8 terabyte device. And this is a really interesting one. So if you look at the market today, a lot of SSDs, there's some great products out there. They're almost all the same. They take an M2 stick, they put a heatsink and an enclosure, and that's the device. We're talking about throughput in our world. The problem with those things, they get hot. And when they get hot, they have to drop the power, which means your performance drops off a cliff. First problem you have to solve is how do you deal with that so you get sustained performance? So we're using a system called the Thrower Air Jet, which is an SSD, a solid state cooling jet, to move air in the drive. You can see the vents down the side.
Oh, wow.
There's vents on the side that draw air in, and there's vents at the top and the bottom that push cold air out. So the first thing is solving the thermal means now you get sustained performance between 2,000 and 3,000 megs per second. That also solves another problem, which is that you have a much higher power budget. And with that higher power budget, we have fully encrypted drive. So encryption is always on. You have a rated drive, so it's RAID 6, which most SSDs do not come standard with. And we have an e-paper display. So now instead of having a piece of tape on a drive, so we have the label will actually change states depending on whether it's plugged in, unplugged, locked, or lost. So we have a lost mode. With that lost mode, if somebody plugs in the drive and that drive is set up and the system is being lost, you could have a label that says, please contact, or you could have a QR code linking them to a website, shows them how to get a UPS tag or a FedEx label or shipping address.
Wow.
Any of those things.
So you got the logistics of
where's
how
my
to ship
drive?
the drive
Exactly.
baked into it.
Exactly. Where's
Wow.
my drive? Who has access to it? So the drive is always encrypted, and we use an NFC chip on the device with your phone to unlock it. So it's a tap to unlock experience. So the drive cannot be used by somebody who's not authenticated to that drive. It's almost like it is a passkey in the same way that you think about your phone as being a passkey for a lot of different internet services.
Sure.
In addition, there's a Find My chip native on the device. So you can actually register your Pro Mini on Apple or Google's finding tracking services. So if the drive gets lost,
you know who stole your drive.
you can ping it and you can drive them crazy by
Or you find a Starbucks
Exactly.
where your
Exactly.
where your intern left it.
And it'll be right. And they're fun things to talk about, but when you think about what that means,
Yeah,
if
it's
you're-
not a gimmick.
if you're
it's
a
real world.
corporation where you have it could be a board meeting, it could be a commercial for a new product, or you're a studio and you're creating IP, or you're a sports team, you have coaches videos, or you have sponsor content. It doesn't matter, right? Like you don't want that data to be insecure at any point in the pipeline.
Now, this being smaller, would this typically be used at the camera?
You can use
or is that a common workflow?
Absolutely. So
whereas this would be more in the workstation environment.
Yeah, it's
Or you could bring that out into the field.
both. I mean, you're right on all fronts, right? Like this is obviously physically a bigger product. We have a lot of partners and customers who bring this out in the field. So if you're doing a multicam shoot, 4 to 8 terabytes might not be enough for you on a regular basis, but up to 192, that's a lot of cameras, right? So if you're doing, let's say, 4 cameras plus, you might want to have one of these on the field, or if you're DIT, you might want to have one of these just so that you can ingest more footage, or you're a small commercial production company. You have multiple people, you want to be able to start the work in parallel, which is a pretty major benefit when your life is determined by how many projects you can get through. The Mini does connect directly to cameras, and we're working with a lot of camera manufacturers to figure out how do you get full resolution feed out of the USB, or if there's other ways to get full resolution feed directly to the drive. The novelty of it, or actually it's less of a novelty, more of like a real benefit, is that now your first copy that's coming out of the camera is encrypted and it's redundant, which doesn't exist today. If you're writing to a camera,
So you could, you're writing internally the camera, so that's your first safety net.
no, this
the raw,
is directly from the camera.
Oh, directly from the camera.
So think of it as being used as a camera card.
So you don't need a camera card
You don't
anymore.
need a camera card.
This
You
is
have
the
a
camera
4
card.
and 8 terabyte drive that does 2,000 to 3,000 megs per second that's encrypted and reads 6 as your camera card. So now the cool part is, if you're, let's say, we see this a lot, you're a 1 or 2 person crew and you're doing interviews. You're shooting, you're transcoding, you're editing, and then you're getting on the airplane to the next location. And oftentimes you're running in the airport to get to that next spot. Now you're not doing transcode, you're not doing a copy, because you've ingested to this drive directly from the camera, or you've just ingested from a camera card. You're editing natively off the Mini. You're coloring natively off the Mini, and you've not had to make all these multiple copies. So just a little bit more sanity, a little bit more breath, hence the get more sleep everywhere, right? Like the idea is
Is that your tagline? Get
that
more
is
sleep?
it's everywhere on the booth. Like I'll give you a pin when we're done.
I would love a pin.
Because it's all those different stops where you're adding time, you're adding anxiety, you're adding exposure. And like as you start to eliminate those, you really can focus more on the work at hand. So the Mini, yes, cameras, but you can literally, just the same with the Pro Data, with the exception of the fact that this is a one single user and multi-user device, you can do an entire workflow off of one of these.
Off of this one little guy.
One little drive.
Now, you before we started the interview, I was asking you about like data or the video formats. You could put RAW or ProRes.
We're still, at the end of the day, we're still
JPEG, MPEG, whatever.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the unsexy part is we're still we're still a bucket for bits, right? It's a one or a zero.
Don't care.
We don't care.
As long as that USB interface can talk to this storage on the camera, you can dump whatever you want.
Yep, and it's a universal USB.
Whether it's an ARRI or a RED or whatever.
Exactly, and because it's universal USB, it means that like we'll see the interface and it will dynamically adjust the performance based on the interface. So
it'll negotiate with the camera how much throughput.
Exactly.
It'll coax the camera. Let's go a little, or the computer. Let's go as fast as we can.
Right? Like I'm sure you've been into facilities where they love a particular model of computer and it may not be the latest and greatest. So when they plug it in, it means they're not going to have a problem. They're going to be able to plug it in and go, and they're good. It's easy to use. And to your point about when we look at different types of data, this is an ecosystem, right? We are not the star of the show. There are millions and, well, maybe not millions. There are thousands of different pieces of hardware and software that make up workflow. And everyone has a different permutation. Everyone has a different way that they like to work. So our thinking is we need to figure out how to be a conduit. How do we connect those disparate pieces and those different pieces in a meaningful way and help end users optimize for whatever it is that they're doing? Because that's how you bring something new to the storage, like the world of storage. Like you actually facilitate something that people are looking for and not change the workflow, but actually augment it or optimize it. So a lot of our partners today, we were talking earlier about sports and live video. What we do first and foremost is we just test on both sides. We go, okay, what are the core use cases that your end users are doing with your product?
So is that because that was like a question that popped into my mind. How do I help my clients engage with Iodyne?
You engage.
You want to learn about the workflow, what cameras they're using,
step one,
what their storage strategy is.
All of that. The first step is understanding what are you doing, what are you using today, and where's the bottleneck? Where's the challenge?
What's working, what's not working?
Yeah, and that's a conversation.
If it ain't broke, maybe it's not worth fixing.
I'd love for you to buy.
We want to find that out.
Exactly. But that's almost every first stop. So whether you're talking to one of our resellers, who usually will bring us in, or you're talking directly to us, it's a conversation. And we want that conversation because we were talking about this earlier. It's a hardware and software combination, which means that we can make feature upgrades, we can make performance upgrades. So if a bunch of users come to us and say, hey, I love this, but I really wish it did that. Well,
it's just a firmware update, a software upgrade.
Yeah, let's have that conversation. Let's map it out. Let's figure out what's technically feasible. And then 3 months later, we might be able to push it as an upgrade, right? And you don't go buy a new device. You just get the upgrade and it's free. There's no subscription. It's like you're ready to go. So there's a lot of that. And so we work directly with customers, and then we work with directly the ecosystem partners.
Do you do support contracts, or do you just buy the hardware, or do you offer extended warranty, tech support?
Yeah. So
how does that work?
Thank you for asking that. I forgot to bring that up. So it's a free 1-year warranty. If you register the device, that extends to 3. Free. Anything goes wrong.
So 3 if you register.
Yeah. 3 years.
1 no brainer. 3 just
exactly.
Register.
And the reason is because if you register, 1, we can figure out where you are and we can locate where a reseller is in case something goes wrong.
Yes.
2, we also have the ability when you send us your logs to connect it to an end user, which is much more helpful than trying to guess that when we get it.
Yeah. You said this one has special cooling. This one, similar technology to work in the field, or is this better for the field?
It just depends what the field looks like, right? Like you do need power for this, but we do make power converters. So you have the ability to plug this into a camera battery. You can plug it into just a standard Anchor rechargeable battery.
Okay.
This one is fans. It's still fairly quiet. We have a lot of these on sets, a lot of these in live locations. You cannot hear them when you're recording. Obviously, this has no fan, so it is significantly quieter. And it's obviously because it's bus powered. It opens up a lot of environments that having to have some kind of power.
So you got options. But again, we would figure this out in the discovery call when we discuss the client's workflow.
That's exactly it. I mean, for us, we learn a lot when we have those conversations. You'll learn a lot about what we're trying to do. And if it's not the right fit, it's not the right fit, but we want to help. So that's...
We're just starting to work with Iodyne, and I'm already feeling a synergy. VidOvation, we're very consultative in the way that we provide solutions to our clients. So it sounds like you guys would be a perfect fit for the VidOvation family.
Yeah, how are you going to learn if you're not talking to people? So
So if any of you folks have questions, you can definitely reach out to Michael and his team at Iodyne. That's Iodyne.
Yep.
or you can reach out to me or someone on the VidOvation team at vidovation.com. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you so much, Jim. Really appreciate it.
And thank you for this interview.